This might be a little bit too much for my little pea brain to handle. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Michaela, and today I'm going to be talking about some book series that I desperately need to finish. I am terrible for starting series and either never continuing in them and definitely never finishing them. I honestly can't even tell you the last series I finished. I very rarely even start series to begin with because I know that I'm so bad at finishing them or continuing in them. But there are 10. I do have a list of 10 series that I desperately need to finish and continue in. And I think all the ones I have on this list are completed series. So like the rest of the books are out in them. Yeah, and I really got to get on these because at this point it's just embarrassing. The first one I need to finish is the Lunar Chronicles. I've read the first one in the series, Cinder, and the second, Scarlet. I'm trying to describe this to you, but like I said, my memory is so shit that I can barely remember. I just remember basically there's a cyborg, there's a disease, there's a prince. Cinder and the prince meet. He doesn't know she's a cyborg. She gets sent off by her evil stepmother to be in the trials, I think, but then something like mysterious happens and Cinder maybe finds out a little bit more about herself that she didn't know. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to, actually. I went into it with like pretty low expectations, so I think that's why I came out with like a really good rating. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. The second book I didn't enjoy so much. So the second book, we're following Scarlet, who I honestly can't even remember remotely what the plot of Scarlet was. But anyways, I didn't really enjoy Scarlet as much, and I think that's why I've been so reluctant to pick up the rest of the series. I found it dragged a bit, and it was pretty slow, and since we were following a new character, I was still constantly wanting to know about Cinder's story, which does intertwine in Scarlet. It comes in, we're kind of following them separate, and then they meet up, but I don't know, I wanted more of Cinder. It's kind of hard for me, especially in series, to care when new characters get added. I'm very much the type of person who I don't like the first book in series because I don't care about the setup of the world, which obviously we need, but I much rather reading series like the fifth book or the third book in a series where everything is already established, we know the characters, and they're just like fighting the good fight. So I think that's something I struggled with Scarlet, because we have to like learn all the characters again, we have to meet new characters, and I'm like, I don't know, like I'm not a huge fan of like having to meet new characters in series, but I do definitely want to continue the series because I've heard that Crest, the next one, is the best in the series, so I'll definitely be continuing on. I'm gonna have to do a recap of Scarlet because like I said, I have no memory of what even happens in it, but yeah, this is one series that I definitely need to finish. The next one I need to finish is Strange the Dreamer, which is actually a duology, and I just read Strange the Dreamer back in January. I actually have all my thoughts on it in my most recent reads video, which I will link down below if you want to check that out. But I have to read Muse of Nightmares, which is the second, and I think it's just a duology. Like, I think it completes a series, so it shouldn't be too hard to finish. Strange the Dreamer is about this young man named Laszlo who grew up as an orphan, and he always remembered this old city that one day the name disappeared from his mind, and what they started calling it, everybody started calling it, was Weep, even though he knew that wasn't the name. And he was super entrenched in the history of the city, where the city was, what happened in the city. So when he gets older and becomes a librarian, he spends most of his days in the library discovering the city, researching the city, trying to find out what happened. And basically that's where I want to leave you with the synopsis of it. I really enjoyed it. Gave it, I believe, 3.5 stars. That I did have some problems with it, but I do really want to continue on. The ending was a huge plot twist. I didn't think that Laini Taylor was going to go there, so I'm super interested to see what she does in Muse of Nightmares. The plot twist showed me that she's not going to hold back, so yeah, I'm very interested in Muse of Nightmares. I know it's a really beloved duology, so super excited to continue on. The next series I have to finish is the Reluctant Royal series by Alyssa Cole. So I've read the first one in the series, called A Princess in Theory, which is basically a take on like the Nigerian prince scam emails. This girl named Naledi, who lives in New York, I believe, gets an email from this like faraway country that she thinks is a scam, until the guy who emails her actually shows up on her doorstep. If I remember right, I don't actually think she knows who he is to begin with, but I haven't read the series in quite a while. But yeah, it was super fun. I really enjoyed it. I thought the romance was done really well, and I just love Alyssa Cole's writing in general, so I definitely want to continue on in the series. It's a big one though, so it's definitely going to take some time, but yeah, I love Alyssa Cole's writing, so I'll definitely be continuing on. How many times can I say definitely on this? The next series I have to continue is scary, but I'm gonna do it, and that's the Game of Thrones series. So I read the first one about a year ago, back in April. And I would try to explain what it's about to you, but there is so much going on. I'm sure you know. Fuck, I don't even know how to explain it. We're following this family who lives in the north of this world, and the dad Ned is asked to be the hand of the throne, or the hand of the king, to the king back in like down in the center of the world. So he goes, his whole family goes, most of his family goes at least, and there's just a lot of weird stuff going on with like the royal family, and there is so much that happens in it. If you I know everybody probably knows what Game of Thrones is about, but if you haven't read the books and you enjoy the TV series, I highly recommend picking up the books. I read the first book and then watched half the first season of the show. I will admit I'm like one of those people that haven't seen all Game of Thrones all the way through, but the book is so well done. I was so surprised. The TV show just doesn't like get the relationships right and the tension, and the book is so good. I highly recommend Game of Thrones. But anyways, I do have to continue on in the series because I've only read the first one. The reason I'm afraid of the second one is because I've heard that it's more political, like it's more setting up for the rest of the series and like establishing relationships between people and like political relationships, and that's a little bit scary to me. So going into a fantasy that's heavily like based on politics and having to find out and try to learn the politics of all of these kingdoms might be a little bit too much for my little pea brain to handle, but we're gonna do it because I love the first book. I'm gonna finish the series. Might take years, but I'm doing it. I'm gonna finish Game of Thrones. The next one I have, I don't know if I actually want to finish it, but it is a series I've started and I don't know if I'm continuing on, but that's a Study in Charlotte series. This is basically a play on Sherlock Holmes, A Study in Scarlet, I think the first book is actually called. Basically about this girl named Charlotte who's a descendant of Sherlock Holmes, I believe, meets up with this guy named Jamie Watson in, I think they're at university or they're like at a boarding school, but he is a descendant of Sherlock Holmes's partner in crime. I've never read Sherlock Holmes or seen anything to do with it, so I don't even know his name. But yeah, just these two kids solving a mystery. There's a little bit of feelings along the way because they're two young teenagers. So yeah, it was good. It was a 3-star. It wasn't anything memorable. I honestly can't even remember how the mystery wrapped up, and I read it like maybe a year ago. So I don't know if I'm actually going to be continuing on in this series, but it was okay. So, I mean, if the time comes and I have the second book, then yeah, probably I will continue, but I don't know if I have active thoughts to continue. Next one I have to complete is the Arc of the Scythe series. I've read Scythe and I've read Thunderhead, and I really enjoyed them both. Scythe is basically about this world where they have eradicated natural death, or death in general, like at all. They need these people called scythes that they train to go around and kill people for like population control, and just to replicate the death that would be happening in the natural world. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes along with that. There are people who have become scythes that shouldn't have become scythes because they take advantage of the power, while there's also people trying to maintain what being a scythe should be and like removing the emotional aspect from it, but also still having emotions attached to it, so you don't just go on rampages of killing people. Really well done book. I think that Neil Shusterman wrote a dystopian in a way that was like refreshing, because I think it's a newer series, like 2017ish. So I'm really excited to complete the series and read the last one, The Toll. So the next one is the Serpent and Dove series. I know this one is completing this year. The third book isn't out yet. Serpent and Dove is about a witch and a witch hunter who have to get fake married, or like arranged married. I can't remember if they actually get married or if they're just pretending to be married. But the witch hunter, Reed, doesn't know that Lou's a witch. So there's a lot that entails with that. I really enjoyed the magic system in this and the world building. And I think it'll only get better in the second book, Blood and Honey. So I'm really excited to pick it up. I have honestly been wanting to read that specific book for a while now. I just don't own it, so I have to get it first. But I've been like really in the mood to read it because I remember the first book being so good. I think I gave it 4 stars, and I know it was one of those books that people either loved or hated, but I really loved it. So very excited to continue on in the series. The next series I have is The Diviners by Libba Bray. The Diviners is about a girl named Evie who every time she touches something, she sees the history of it, or I can't remember if she can see the history, if she just feels the emotions. This video is really just solidifying how bad my memory is. Every time I say, I can't remember, but I think she can either see the history of the object she touches, or she can just like feel the emotions that the person was feeling. And she goes to live with her uncle in New York, I believe, and she basically has to solve a murder mystery case. And there's like other people, there's other storylines that aren't all connected yet, but I believe they will be in the like further series. But the main reason I love this book so much and want to continue on, it was the atmosphere. It created such an amazing atmosphere, and this was the first audiobook I ever listened to actually, and it was so good. It was so long, but it was so good. The narrators were so good. Every individual person was just like narrated so well, like their voice was so distinct, and I really loved this book. I don't know why I never continued on in the series, but yeah, I'm probably gonna actually reread The Diviners and then continue on. But yeah, I highly recommend The Diviners. It was really, really good when I read it, and I will definitely be continuing on. The last two series here are not ones that I'm like actively trying to finish, but if I ever need like a light pick-me-up type of book, I'll definitely be continuing on in the Ice Planet Barbarians and the Pucked series. These are both romance novels. Ice Planet Barbarians, I'm sure you know what it's about. It's about this girl who gets abducted by aliens and then lands on this planet where she has to go find food for her and the other people in the little like spaceship thing that dropped on the planet. And then she meets a creature there, a guy there. She meets somebody there that rocks her world, if I might. And then Pucked was a hockey romance about this girl, swears off hockey boys, never dating a hockey boy again, meets a hockey boy, and he rocks her world. They were both enjoyable. They were fun for what they were. I've read only the first ones in both series, but I know that these are the type of books that if I get into a reading slump, these are like super easy ones that I can just read quickly and they'll pull me out, give me a good time. Yeah, I mean, I'm into both of them. So if the time comes, I will be continuing on and hopefully finishing the series. So those were the 10 series that I have started and need to finish. Let me know if any of these are series that you enjoyed. If you are planning on starting any of these series, if you've completed them and you hate them, you like them, let me know. I want to know your thoughts down below. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video.